Well, we are going to get started. Again, my name is Phil Frost. I'm the founder of Main Street ROI. I'm going to be walking through how Main Street ROI can cost effectively redesign your website. Get some housekeeping out of the way. As many of you already figured out, we've got a chat window, so you can post questions to that chat window. I'll see those pop up. I'll address those as they come in. We'll also have a live Q&A at the end. And as always, I recommend you turn off distractions. You'll definitely get the most out of this if you're not also trying to scroll through Facebook and check your emails. Now, if you're new to Main Street ROI, I want to give you a quick rundown of who we are. So we're a digital marketing agency, and we provide both services and training. So we provide a lot of free training on our website via our blog. And then we send a email newsletter with a lot of tips, tricks, and trends with digital marketing on topics like SEO, online advertising, and Google, and Facebook, and Bing, email marketing, tracking and analytics, WordPress development, as well as social media. So lots of tips and advice that we provide for free. We also have some more in-depth training courses on our website at mainstreetroi.com/training. You can take a look at that. And then we do provide some one-on-one consulting. And then for businesses that want an agency to just do the marketing for them, we provide services. So we provide SEO services, Google AdWords management, Facebook ads management, as well as WordPress development. And that's the focus of today's presentation. And if you're new, you're probably wondering, who the heck am I? Again, my name is Phil Frost. I'm the founder of Main Street ROI. To date, our business has helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing. And my thought leadership has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex, as well as Mashable. And my favorite slide here, I'm also the proud father of Violet on the left. She's now 5 years old, but she'll tell you she's 5 1/4. We've got Emmett on the right. He's just over 3 years old. And my beautiful wife, Erin, in the middle. And we live on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And our office is on 23rd Street and in between 6th and 7th Ave. All right, so let's dive into how we can help you redesign your website. So first of all, I'm going to talk about why WordPress. We'll touch on why choose Main Street ROI to help you with your redesign. I'll walk through our approach. I'll show a couple example websites. We'll go through an example schedule and fees, as well as next steps if you're interested in getting started. And then we'll have live Q&A. All right, so first off, why WordPress? And I think there are 4 key reasons. First one, WordPress is easy to use. It's also easy for businesses to maintain or manage their websites. That's a key request that we hear from a lot of businesses, that they want to have a website that they're able to just make some quick edits to if you want to add an image or tweak some copy here or there. It also they have mobile responsive themes, and that is absolutely critical. Back when I got started in 2006, this was not an issue at all. Everyone had, the old school flip phone. No one really went on the internet except for on their desktop computers. But now more people actually online using mobile devices than computers, which is pretty crazy. Didn't take too long. More people go to Google and do searches on a mobile device than they do on a computer. And because of that, you may have heard the rumors that Google is currently switching their index to what's called a mobile first index. And that means Google's going to look at the mobile version of your website and make decisions about how you're going to rank. And they're going to do that before they go to the desktop version. They basically flipped that. When I got started again back in 2006, they would just look at your desktop computer desktop version of your website and make decisions about how you're going to rank in their search engine. But now Google's going to look at the mobile version first, and that's what they're calling the mobile first index. It's also obviously important for usability. If you go to a website on a mobile and the site is not responsive, or it's not what they call mobile optimized, then it's pretty frustrating to try to use those kinds of websites because you're navigating with your thumb rather than a mouse, and it's hard to click on small links. It's hard to read small font. So you really want to have a mobile responsive site where you're going to not only lose rankings in Google, but also lose leads and sales. WordPress also has professional and user-friendly themes. You've heard the saying, you only get one chance to make a great first impression, and that's definitely true with your website. And oftentimes that is the first impression that you're giving prospective customers. They are going to your website, they're doing their due diligence to research you, figure out if they want to contact you, and they are obviously going to be turned off if you don't present a nice professional and user-friendly website right from the start. And last but not least, WordPress is SEO friendly. There are a lot of website platforms out there. We know firsthand because we'll have clients that will work with their websites, but unfortunately we're not able to make critical SEO edits to their site because of the limitations of their website platform. And that's not the case with WordPress. We're very happy when a client wants to work with us and they have a WordPress website. We know right away we're going to be able to make all the very important edits to their site for SEO purposes. So that's why choose WordPress, and then why choose us. 6 reasons. First, we're an industry authority. I mentioned we publish a lot of information about best practices and trends in the industry. We provide results. I already mentioned that in the previous slide. We've helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing. We have a proven process. I'm going to show that in a couple slides here. We don't provide cookie cutter solutions. That's something that other agencies will just apply the same solution across all of their clients. We actually provide custom plans in custom WordPress sites for all of our clients. We're not a black box. We're an open book. That relates to transparency. That's one of our core values in our company. We're extremely transparent as far as what we're doing, what we're going to do, as well as our fees. Totally upfront about the fees, especially on the advertising side of our business. Some agencies will just roll up their fees into one lump sum. We actually have clear line items for advertising spend, what you're going to pay to, let's say, Google or Facebook versus what you're paying us to set up and manage the account. And lastly, we're responsive. That's another one of our core values in our company. We work very hard to be responsive to our clients. We know that's obviously important to our clients to have a company that they can turn to, get their questions answered in a timely manner, and have somebody follow up via email or phone when necessary. All right, so next I'm going to walk through our approach. So this is our 6-step process for redesigning a client's website. So if you had a website built already, what we would most likely do, if we're able to get access, we would set up a development subdomain. So let's say your website is yourdomain.com. We would create a subdomain called dev.yourdomain.com. On that subdomain, we would make sure it's no indexed, so Google and search engines would not be able to find it. and that's where we would develop your new website. Next, we would select a mobile responsive theme. Make sure it's a theme that fits your needs and is also going to match the look and feel that you're going for. We'd get approval on that theme. Then we'd obviously install that theme on the development site. And then from there, we would migrate your current pages to the new development site. After that, once we've migrated everything over and potentially created new pages as needed, we would complete the SEO setup to make sure it's tuned up for SEO. We'd integrate any forms with your CRM or customer relationship management tool to make sure all the forms on your site connect to your CRM and notify your team. And finally, we would install tracking. Most importantly, getting Google Analytics set up, getting the goals set up in Analytics to track the conversions on your site, as well as getting Search Console set up. That is a tool that Google provides that gives you insight into your SEO. And then what you want to do then is link Search Console with Google Analytics, and we would take care of that. And therefore, in Google Analytics, you'll get some really good information as far as your keyword rankings, which keywords you're ranking for, what your position is, how many impressions, how many clicks you're generating, as well as your what they call SEO landing pages. You'd see which pages on your site are ranking, as well as impressions, clicks, and even conversions for those landing pages. So you're going to get a copy of these slides. You can take a look at these two sites. Let me try to go to this site right now. This is one of them. This is a yoga studio just over the Hudson River. So we're in Manhattan. This company is in Hoboken, New Jersey. This is just one example. Obviously, every site is going to look different depending on what kind of business you have and just your overall preferences for look and feel. In this case, they have a scheduling tool here. And just scrolling through to give you an idea of this particular site. And then unfortunately, I don't have a before and after. I tried to use the Wayback tool, but I wasn't able to pull up a usable before picture. But this is a much better look and feel than what they had before. But again, you'll get a copy of these slides. You can obviously click these links and go take a look at those sites. And next, just to give you an example of fees. So this is not, every site would not be this particular price point. It would depend on your needs. But just to give you an idea, that first row there, we're going to do the mobile-friendly WordPress website design, including migrating the content from your existing site. And in this example, I'm saying you have 20 pages. So the big variables here are the size of your site. Obviously, bigger sites are going to require more work. And then the complexity of your site would play a role as well. So if you have, so I showed you in that yoga site had a scheduling capability where the business inputs events and then it shows up on the site. Not necessarily, that feature alone is not complex, but the more of that type of additional functionality that would increase the fee. And then you can see the second row there is any additional website development. So for example, we might want to enhance the website speed, add what they call structured data. In this case, we're saying schema markup. That is a an important feature for local SEO. That's something we want to set up. Setting up a sitemap if they don't have that. Ensuring canonicalization, and configuring and setting up Google Analytics, goals, and Search Console. I mentioned that earlier. And then the third row here is for additional website SEO. So optimizing the pages for relevant keywords. We would actually do the keyword research and then draft the web page titles, the meta descriptions, and the headers, and we would go in and make those edits on the new site. And then in this example here, we said we're building out separate pages for different services. That's because a common mistake we see with a lot of businesses, they don't have individual pages for each of their services. And if they want to rank in Google for those individual services, they have to have a specific page for that service. So when we see that, if we see that your existing page, your existing site is missing critical pages, we would likely put into our proposal, the recommendation that we want to create those additional service pages in your new site. So that's why there are potentially some additional line items. In this example here, the redesign was $2,500. And there is that footnote, just to make sure we're totally clear, that optimization that we're including there for SEO is not everything that we would recommend from an SEO perspective. If you were to hire us just for SEO, there's going to be additional work. For example, we might recommend even more website content, blogging, submitting your site to additional directories. That helps with local SEO, doing press releases, and possibly link building. So in that case, we would likely recommend the website redesign, and then as a separate future project, we could scope out the SEO work. Bob had a good question here. Does this include e-commerce capabilities? So the short answer would be no. I mean, in this example here, this was not a e-commerce site, and we don't do large-scale e-commerce redesigns. We would not be a good fit for that type of a website development project. We do have partners with companies that provide those types of services. We strictly do websites where it's more informational, trying to drive leads via phone calls, via forms on the site, maybe scheduling an appointment. If you have a e-commerce type business and you need help with that, definitely reach out and we can point you in the right direction, but that's not something that we would help you with. A couple more questions here from K. Lowe. So if we wanted to use a WordPress template that allows future changes to be made via drag and drop, instead of coding, can you do this? For example, I believe it's Divi or Divi. So we are familiar with lots of different WordPress themes. If there's one that you like and you want to use, we can certainly do that. If you don't have any preferences, then we would pick one based on what we would recommend for your needs. But to answer your question, Kay, the answer would be yes, we could definitely create the site using a theme that you would like to use because you want to have that drag and drop capability. Andrea, yes, for a link to a page example slide. So I don't know if this was the exact price for this yoga site, but this was definitely in that neighborhood as far as the price point. I know that for this particular site, I know that we did do some work in the titles here. You can see they're optimized for Vinyasa Yoga Studio in Hoboken. So that title is optimized. So we did some SEO work. We also did the redesign. I don't think we had to create any additional pages. So it, in this example quote here, there's this line item here, building out separate pages. I don't think we did that for that yoga company, but it would have been in that ballpark of about 2,000, 2,500. And David, yes, we will be sending a replay. And then as far as the schedule, obviously this is going to vary based on the size of the site, but that yoga site is a good example. And just, as far as the fees in that 2,000 to 2,500 range, about 4 weeks, let's say, give or take, up to 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the turnaround time for getting stuff approved. That's going to take care of the actual website. And then there is going to be that additional SEO work that we'll recommend, which would be optional, but strongly recommended. And if we were doing any type of business directories, that might push us closer to the 6-week timeline. And then as far as terms, we require upfront payment via credit card. And then next steps, I have a link if you are interested. You can always follow up via email or phone, but I'm testing a new feature here where you should see, whoops. You should see on your screen a link to get a quote. So it says get a free WordPress development service quote, ready to get started, and then a button, get a quote. If you click that link, that'll shoot you over to a form. You can complete that form, and then one of our marketing advisors will follow up to learn more about your needs, learn more about your website, the size of it, and if there are any special needs that you have or requirements. Based on that, we'd put together a proposal, and then you'd have a call with the marketing advisor. He or she will walk you through the proposal, answer any questions you have, and then we'd go from there. So hopefully you saw that poll. I'm going to remove it right now. Or sorry, not the poll, the link. And now I did see some more questions. We'll open it up to Q&A here. Okay, so copywriting, that's a great question. And that does bring up the other thing I should have mentioned on the fees slide. So that was for a redesign. So for website redesigns, you'll have a website, and we're then taking that copy, moving it over to a new website with a fresh design. If you don't have a website, we can also help you. One of the examples that I had in the slides there was for a waste disposal company, and they did not have a website, so we just created that from scratch. And what it comes down to is whether or not the client wants to write the copy or they want us to write the copy, and it's up to you. If you want us to do the copywriting, we can do that, and then obviously that would be an additional line item and would increase the cost. If you wanted to do the copy and as well as any images, that's perfectly fine. I will warn you that typically drags out and makes the timeline longer. If we're doing the copy and handling the images, we'll get that done and stick to that timeline. In our experience, when the client is drafting the copy and coming up with the images, that typically extends the timeline quite a bit. John, you said you copyright or us. So I think I just answered your question. We can, in the example price there, that was assuming we were not going to do any copywriting because that's for a redesign where we are going to take what you already have. If there was any type of copywriting, then that would be an additional fee. And then Kay, you asked about purchasing stock images. So there's lots of them out there. Canva actually has a lot of cheap pictures that you can buy. That's a tool to easily edit images, but you can use it as a way to get stock photos. And if you just Google stock photo, you'll just get a ton of options. I would have to double check exactly which one we would be using, but a lot of times it depends. As far as just what kind of an image we're looking for, we'll use lots of different tools. Andrea asked, do you help train customers on how to use their own website, how to update it on their own? If so, is that part of the package or an additional fee? So that would, it just depends. So some clients want to have additional training, and that's something we would put in the proposal. It might be an hour call, an hour training call with your team, and we would just again, we would be totally transparent as far as that just being an additional line item in the proposal. Okay, and then Andrea, you said you've used Weebly and WordPress, and you find Weebly more user-friendly, but doesn't have as much access. So that is, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. With tools like Weebly, another tool is Wix. Squarespace is another one. So we've had clients and have clients using all those different platforms, and I don't know which ones exactly and what the limitations are, but they all have their own unique limitations, and that's why we always recommend WordPress. With a tool like WordPress, you can literally edit anything, and we're able to make the necessary edits for SEO. With those other platforms, a lot of times there's some limitations as far as exactly what you can edit or exactly how you can edit it. John asked, how about recurring SEO audits? So we provide ongoing SEO services. If you're interested in that, we could certainly discuss that more as far as the types of services that we provide. And then if you were just specifically looking for an audit, it would depend on the size of your site. A typical audit is in the neighborhood of $300, just to give you an idea of how much that would cost. Nicole, yes, iStock is definitely one of the sites that we've used for photos. Kay, as far as our hourly rate for consulting, it's $150. I'm sorry to clarify that for everyone. I think you guys can actually see everyone's chat here, but Kay said, do you have an hourly rate for SEO or SEM? Let me just scroll down if I missed any here. So lots of questions about getting the slides. I do want to remind everyone we're sending the slides out as well as the replay. We typically send it about 24 hours after the presentation ends. So it's usually the night of, but it might be tomorrow. Thank you, John. Appreciate the feedback. And in case, so I don't see many questions coming in, so case you didn't get a chance, I will try to show that offer again. So on your screen, you should see a blue button, get a quote. So if you are interested in talking to one of our marketing advisors and get a custom quote, you can just click that link. And it's a pretty short form, just looking for your name, email, phone, your website. We'd obviously need that, type of business, and then just get a sense for your timeline if you're looking for help in the next 30 days or if you're just really in more of a research phase. Okay, I see some more questions. Kay asked if we wanted a particular page to be redesigned, how much would that cost? So that would depend. If you're looking for a landing page, when you say just looking for one page, my first thought is you probably are looking to test a different type of landing page. We can do that. That's part of our advertising service. We set up and then optimize landing pages. So if you're interested in that, let me know, Kay, and then we can talk more about the fees for a landing page. Okay, so what we use is Instapage, and we would set up the page, and we would set that up in our account. If you wanted to use your account, that would be fine. There is a recurring fee for Instapage. To create the page would be $300. And then for our advertising clients, we then charge $100 a month, which is basically the cost of Instapage. So you're getting Instapage, plus we're actually creating tests on a monthly basis to optimize the landing pages for you. And Joseph, I appreciate the feedback. Thank you. And we still have some time. If you have some questions, let me know. I have not seen where the offer goes on your screen, but it looks like it's not covering up the chat. So I'll just leave that open. If you're interested, you can click on that button. If you have questions, you can type that into chat. And I'll just give it a couple more minutes. If no more questions come in, we'll close it out. You're welcome to shoot us emails if you have questions after the webinar. And as I'm waiting, I'll just scroll down and make sure I didn't miss any questions. I think I got all the questions. And Kay, as far as a homepage redesign, I think it would be helpful if you could just follow up via email with a link to your site. We can get back to you on that. And Timothy asked, does the design allow for menu toolbar changes? So when you say menu toolbar, I think you're talking about the navigation of the site. And yes, you could absolutely change the navigation. If you're asking about, let's say you have a current site and you want to redesign it and change the navigation, absolutely. A lot of times we'll recommend that right from the start, just from an SEO perspective. You might be missing some key pages, so we would be recommending tweaks to your navigation. But as far as after we develop your site, if you then later on wanted to edit the menu or the navigation, maybe add some pages, you could certainly do that. Nicole, as far as the hourly rate, so the hourly rate for SEO or online advertising consulting is $150 an hour. Tim followed up with a question, can the menu include a blog? Absolutely, that would be something we would always recommend. We'd recommend the business have a blog, unless you're not going to blog, in which case there would be no point. But yes, we would recommend a blog. And then if you have the blog under a different URL, we would recommend moving that blog to your main URL, your main domain. And the reason for that is because all of that work you're doing blogging, you want to make sure that benefits your main website, and you want to have your main website ranking in Google. So you want to blog on your domain. You don't want to blog on a different domain. All right, I said I was going to give it a couple minutes, but we got some more questions. So from here, I'll give it another minute. If anyone has a follow-up question. Okay, I think we got through all the questions. Again, on your screen, you should see the button. If you're interested in a quote, just click that button, fill out that form. We'll follow up right away. If you have any questions after the presentation, feel free to shoot us an email. Other than that, I think we are good. And again, I apologize for the audio problems there. We'll get that fixed. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Have a great weekend, and look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Take care.